Welcome again. Another in the series, Snippets on the history of Jamaican music. The song you're listening to here is a piece recorded by Byron Lee and the Dragonaires in 1959 called Dumplings. Now, last week I put out one of my videos and it elicited a fair amount of discussion, among which, or one of the elements of the discussion related to an accusation of Byron Lee as ripping off Jamaica's music, particularly the ska. And I want to use this program to say that nothing no goes up. Byron Lee at no point ever declared that he was the creator of ska. Byron Lee started his band, the Dragonaires, in 1950. He was a student at St. George's College, and so the band was a compendium of musicians that emanated from St. George's College, and what they would do is play music, particularly at soccer games or sporting events that the school would have held at the time. Over the years, the band matured and the players stuck together. They actually took the name Dragonaires off the crest of the St. George's College high school, and so they named themselves that. Now, Byron Lee, of course, a mixed racial, half Chinese, if you will. Mother is Jamaican, and Byron Lee, I would not say was a poor boy. He was largely middle class Jamaican, and he kept what they would say in those days, good company. Now, it just so happened that timing, like most things in life, is everything, and Byron Lee's timing ran parallel to another great group. In fact, in my opinion, one of the greatest groups ever to have come out of Jamaica, a group of musicians that in time became known as the Skatellites. This was a bunch of musicians, 10 of them in fact, who had been playing together for a long time. They had been playing together since 1955. And this group included people like Tommy McCook, Lester Sterling, Roland Alfonso, Jackie Mitu, Lloyd Brevet, Lloyd Nib, Don Drummond, Jerry Haynes, Johnny Moore, Jackie Opel. Did I leave out anybody? But 10 musicians. And they had been playing, most of them product of the Alpha Boys School music program, where they honed their skills as youngsters and would have started playing the music, as I said, dating back as far as 1955. And by 1964, they decided to come together to form the Skatellites. In fact, this group would have played as session musicians all over the place, particularly at the studios of Coxsone, the studios of Duke Reed, where they different mixtures of them would have formed parts of the respective studio bands at the time. Now, in 1964, they, as I said, came together. So June 1964, and the band survived as a group, the Skatellites, for 14 months. The band disbanded in August of 1965, and here it was a group of musicians, some of the most talented group of musicians ever to have come out of Jamaica, and they basically put together a significant catalog of music, if you will. And I want us to touch on in fact, they released an album called Ska Authentic, or which featured a significant number of hits. Let me give you a taste. You're listening to Fidel Castro, one of the tracks from this album. The album was recorded at Studio One and was produced by the late great Clement Sir Coxsone Dodd in conjunction with Duke Reid. The competition, believe that. Now, in 1964, the Jamaican government got an invitation to participate in the World's Fair, which was being held in New York. And everybody would have thought that the group that would have gone out there to represent Jamaica, playing Jamaican authentic ska, would have been the Skatellites. The trouble is that as talented as the Skatellites were as a group of musicians, they were very difficult to work with. And most of the people in the music business at the time would have alluded to that. In fact, we all remember that Don Drummond operated in his own element. He was on the stage referred to as Don Cosmic, one of the greatest creative minds. But he had issues, mental health issues, and so you imagine trying to work this group together. So when, at the time, Siaga, who was Minister of Development, had the culture and development, I should say, had the responsibility for putting this group together, he reached out to Byron Lee. And of course, you know Byron Lee good. Byron Lee did a lot of his recording sessions at West Indies Records Limited, which was owned by Siaga. And so one could argue that some curry favoring may have gone on. That notwithstanding, Byron Lee, it was who led his group, the Byron Lee and the Dragonaires, to perform at the New York World's Fair as the representatives of Jamaica and its new music that was bursting at the seams at the time, Jamaican ska. Now, Byron Lee is on record that saying he didn't create this music, but he played it. He had the opportunity based on his connections. Once they left school and the band tightened up, they worked the music scene in Jamaica at that time. Played at some of the best clubs, the Sheraton Hotel, the Glass Bucket, Beaumont Club. They played at the Uptown parties. They had all these big dates because they was a middle class band. And in fact, what you have to, well, from my own perspective, what Byron Lee did, he actually, acting on instructions from Siaga at the time, went down to Kingston 12, which it became, to, as it were, study the music. He's on record as saying Siaga asked him to go down to his constituency to go study ska. And he had been hearing the ska playing all over the place, but really wasn't a big fan of the music. But his connections with Siaga, so he went downtown and they studied this music. And he then took this music back up to his middle class setting, where they now were able to introduce this music, because there's no arguing that Byron Lee and the Dragonaires can hold a candle to the Skatellites. But the problem was, because of who the Skatellites were, they look like me and like the average 96% of the Jamaican population. These two paintings you see behind me here is a tribute to the band itself, the Skatellites. They were downtown ghetto youths who had come together, talented, and put this sound on the road. And nobody could play this music like them. We can argue, and I will support that argument to a large extent, that if you were going to feature Jamaica's music at the World Sphere, you really should have carried the best musicians. The Byron Lee, in the mind of clearly Siaga and the people who were funding the event, figured that they wanted somebody who may have been better in terms of appearance and presentation to the white people, if you will, back in New York City, who the people may have been better able to identify with. Now, the Byron Lee group put together this little music which they were now going to market as ska. This is the Byron Lee's Jamaican ska, which was done for this particular event. The music aficionados will tell you this is not a real ska, watered down. But this is what the government of the day did with the music. This is what Byron Lee put together as his presentation, and the idea was as the instructions were telling you, how to dance the ska.
Shake your hips. Now do it this.
Now, I am not one who would want to carry that argument. As I said before, we may all be entitled to our opinions, but we're not entitled to our facts, our own facts. And the fact is that Byron Lee never said that he creates ska. And he was a businessman, an opportunist. He went on to, in fact, he bought out Siaga's West Indies Records Limited when Siaga decided to go full-time into the politics, which became eventually Dynamic Sounds. And one other person said to me in another conversation that Byron Lee had plans to destroy reggae. And I will say to anybody who put that argument out there, bullshit. Excuse me English. Because Byron Lee recorded some of the best reggae artists in the intervening years, and we're going to cover that some more in future tapes. But I wanted to just clear the air here that we need to stop this kind of foolishness where we tear down people, especially people who are dead and gone and can't defend themselves. Byron Lee is a Jamaican, was a Jamaican, who made his own contribution to the development of our music, and we cannot discuss Jamaican music without saying something, without giving any credit to Byron Lee and his band, the Dragonaires, for the role they played, the contributions they made to the development of our music, period. Because that's what it is, and we need to pull away from this thing where we try and tear down each other. That is all I want to say on this Byron Lee Skatellites thing, the greatest set of musicians ever assembled together in the history of Jamaican popular music, the Skatellites. And I am featuring them there, a couple of the members of the band, in my two 40 by 30 pieces there behind me, and it's not for sale. Let me also use the opportunity to invite you to visit my website at www.yardabroad.com and pick up a piece of my artwork pick up some of my shirts. I have some hoodies. Next time I'm going to feature some of that. But if you like this video, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my video on YouTube. Subscribe to my video channel. And share it with your friend. And until the next time we meet, walk out.